Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Oh my God! What did you do with Wes? Sorry, that's not
Wes.
proper.
He's gone somewhere. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back.
Okay, Miles. Did you since you're here instead of Wes? Not you're actually way closer to me than you've ever been, which is
well. This is why this has happened because of the time difference. I thought Friday was today.
Is it the not? United States has a 2-day time difference. Time zones are way crazier than I thought they were.
No,
okay. So all day I've been fucking just dragging because I had to get up early today, and so and I know that you've been dragging yourself with allergies and everything. When you got to do something like this, is there like a particular song that you just blast to get yourself pumped up, motivated, ready to go, like, and it just changes your entire attitude and mindset?
That's a really good question, and you've really put me on the spot with that. I mean, I have an EDM joy playlist with a lot of feel-good tunes that are just like anthems, good lyrics, and yeah, it'll pump me up. We're doing that.
Nice.
What about you?
I certainly have a selection, that's for sure, and it depends what I'm in the mood for. But today it was "Saves the Day" by Bye Baby, and it's like it's the poppiest song I think they've ever written, and it's just fucking great. I love the band anyway, and for that, I just feel like they wrote a pump Bryan up song just for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, the song I was listening to today is called "Open Heart" by Mazar, Keepsake, and Leo Colette, who are a part of Monster Cat, and it's just the lyrics are so good, and it's a feel good song.
I'm gonna check that out after the show because maybe I'll use that for Friday's show with Wes.
With Wes. Awesome.
All right, man. We got a lot to talk about. Breaking news, all sorts of great stuff. Guys, buckle your seatbelt, order your pizza, grab your beer. Let's start the show.
Let's do this.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live, where we film live every single Monday to Wise Wednesday and Rise Day.
Wise Day.
This is why we don't let Wes host Fridays, because there's no good fucking wordplay for it. My name is Brian Pop from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole, and the gentleman over here to my right, your left. Nope, the other way around.
I'm actually... Dude, I'm the other side of you now. I would normally do that because you're that side of the ocean.
Oh, because...
actually, I do it because you're screen, but now I'm actually to your left on the map.
right, because that's how directions work. You're constantly to the right of me, Miles, when you're in the UK, and now that you're in the States, you're over to my left all the time, no matter which way I'm facing. That's how nautical signs work. And
I get to actually understand what central time is, because I think that's what I'm on, right, in Alabama, Central Time.
You're on Central Time.
Yep. So yeah,
growing up, whenever we'd see commercials for television shows, it would always say Alf season premiere tonight, like
Central,
9, 8 Central. It wouldn't even say like 9 Eastern. It would say 9, 8 Central. It's just because like 9. Why does
it say 9, 8 Central? What's the two numbers?
9 because our time, but 8 Central.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so 9 is the time where you are, and then 8 is okay. They don't have to say. I 9. So
people who live in Central Time must feel like second-class citizens, because if they're saying Central Time, then it must be airing in Central Time. So they're like, "Oh, it's airing at 9." No, 8 Central. Like what?
No. Do you reckon that in Central it goes airing at 9 Central? Just they double it up.
It's
amazing.
It's confusing, and that's how I learned time zones.
That's amazing. But yes. Hello from Alabama. I'm having the most amazing time seeing a friend over here, and I do miss my VR. But there's gonna be plenty of games to play once I get back. Like this is like the calm before the storm, because my goodness, October, man.
Remember, I gotta say, your VR is probably missing you as well. Remember the game that you were having fun with before you left. And we're like, Brian, I can't wait to hear your opinion about this game. And I said, yeah, whatever. And then I played it, and I haven't played anything else for the last 2 days.
Really?
I've sunk like 6 hours into it.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy. Because you know me, I'm always really anxious when I recommend stuff, because I'm like, this is my taste, and there's a lot of stuff that I like that's questionable, but I'm really happy to hear that.
Oh, I've seen your Google search history. I know that your tastes are definitely questionable.
Yeah.
No,
enough of that.
We don't have to talk about EDM. Okay, we got Virtual Slayer Cat in the chat with a Canadian $100 tip. Man, it's starting off with a bang, dude. Bang.
Thank you very much.
Bang, bang. Yeah, thank you very much. He says, not much time to watch live lately. Just from the shadows. Keep up the good work. We do our best, man. We do our best because we know that you're watching from the shadows, and we're fucking scared of you.
And just to let you know, Brian, as a bit of notes, I've just sent you a Bloomberg link for the story. They've just published one. So when we get to that.
Yeah. Okay. Man, okay, listen. That's crazy. Before
it is really crazy.
Before I try to figure that out, I'm going to try to figure that out ASAP. Let's read Professor Lilith's tip, because I think we're going to be able to talk about this for a second, and give me a second to maybe sign up for Bloomberg. Professor Lilith with a $5 tip. Says the 2 p.m. Eastern Sunday multiplayer survey is now posted. For once, none of them are first-person shooters. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Choose Zenith, Altair Breaker, Synth Riders, or Demio. You get 4 choices this week, you guys. It's crazy. If you guys don't know how this works, every Sunday we get together as a big group, awesome community, and play some underappreciated PSVR games. Yeah, I got 2 texts, one from AJ and one from Rypop, our moderator, saying, "Hey, Jim Ryan." And so we're going to talk about Jim Ryan in just a second. Yeah. Don't worry, you guys, we're on top of it. But yeah, guys, make sure that if you have multiplayer games just burning a hole in your collection, and you don't have anyone to play with, go sign up for our Discord. Links in the description below. And go vote on what game you want to play this Sunday, and then you get to go and play with everybody. But join the Discord. Amazing. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, if there's ever a game that you just feel like, does anyone actually play this? Or, it's an incredibly supportive community. People are always happy to help, letting you know what it is. And you're always going to have servers and people to play with. So definitely join the Discord, get involved. It's always a good time. And I'll be back for that. So I might see you there.
Which game of these would you like to win, and tell me why? Because
I'm gonna have to ask you what they were again. There was Zenith. Oh wait, let me have a look at Professor Lilith's tip. It was Zenith. It was wait, here we go. Oh my goodness. Here we go. So it was Zenith, Altair Breaker, Synth Riders, or Demio. Man, I actually still haven't played Altair Breaker, and I've been meaning to. So that would be a good one for me. I hear Altair Breaker is a good time when you play it co-op, so there's that. But look, Synth Riders is a lot of fun on multiplayer. I think it's the most accessible of the lot, because Zenith, when you join, everyone's at different stages. Doesn't mean you can't break away into your different groups. Altair Breaker, I believe, is just 2-player co-op. Is it? It's just you and one other person, Brian.
I want to say 3 or 4. Okay. I can't remember. I think it might have been 4. And it was fun. It was really fun. There just wasn't enough content to really recommend the purchase, but it was fun while it lasted.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, Synth Riders, I mean, Demio again, but Demio is a big investment. You're looking at, if you're playing with 3 other players, it can be an hour a dungeon, and there's 3 dungeons in total for a level. So that's a long one. So for me, it would be Synth Riders.
It's a good way to kill an afternoon, though, isn't it? Demio.
It is. Yeah. That is true. That is true.
All right, we got Joey VR with the level 1 membership in the chat, saying the Foglands developers are in the chat. What is up, Foglands developers? We're definitely looking forward to your game. The more we read about it, the more we're interested in it, and hopefully it's still coming this year. It's looking great, guys. Keep up the good work. Miles, breaking news. It's crazy, dude. It's sort of funny this is happening, but literally right before the show began, we got news from Bloomberg, Jason Schreier over there, saying that PlayStation boss Jim Ryan is retiring from Sony in March. The original tweet said he's stepping down. I think retirement just kind of sounds better, doesn't it, Miles? It doesn't sound like it's so forced.
Especially after you've lost a massive lawsuit against Xbox.
Yeah, right. What have you done? And so let's see. Am I going to be able to, before we start diving into this, am I going to be able to scroll? No. Okay, I'm just going to leave the headline up here, and then I just signed up for Bloomberg so I could read it to you guys, and we can get all the details. Right. This is as much as the article is. This is going to let us see. Nice. So let's see here. The article reads: PlayStation boss Jim Ryan is retiring from Sony in March. This is Jason Schreier, September 27, 2023, 5:57 p.m. They literally waited until 3 minutes before the show just to give us something to talk about. Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, is stepping down after almost 30 years with the company. The longtime boss of Sony's lucrative PlayStation unit will retire in March 2024, the company said in an email to staff Wednesday that was reviewed by Bloomberg. He was appointed to his role in February 2019. Hiroki Totoki, president, COO, and CFO of Sony Group Corporation, will be interim CEO of the games business as the company searches for a successor. I will be leaving, this is a quote from Jim Ryan, I will leave having been privileged to have a job that I love in a very special company working with great people, Ryan said in the email. Short and sweet.
My first thought is a pretty trivial thought, and it's the idea that you don't retire from CEO and then stay in Sony. Like, once you're at CEO, the only way you can leave that position is leaving the company. I mean, or is that not true? I mean, I think there are probably people in senior positions that have had more like ambassador roles and stuff like that. But like, obviously from this, it sounds like, no, he's done with Sony. He's done with Sony.
Well, he's retiring. I think, I don't know how old he is, but maybe he's got a great retirement package. And also maybe, I think the cynic in me, and I think a lot of people in the chat would probably agree, because this has sort of been the narrative about Sony for so long, or about PlayStation for the last few years now. Jim Ryan hasn't been the spokesperson for PlayStation that we want him to be. He hasn't been out in the forefront. He doesn't seem to have like a huge interest in, I don't want to say games, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but it was a radical departure from PlayStation of the past. PlayStation seems like a very different company since he took over the reins. Thank you, Tatum in the chat. Jim Ryan is 76 years old, so it's probably time for retirement. But also, I think it's time for a change as well. I think he wanted to retire on top. Took the role, and I think most people would agree that the role didn't suit him. He didn't seem to be the charismatic guy that we want to be leading all of these PlayStation State of Plays and showcases and out there on stage and enthusiastic about video games. My hope is that this is like sort of their chance to right the ship. A lot of people have been blaming Jim Ryan for the sort of the path that Sony's been going down lately. And so if they find somebody who's a little bit more, I don't want to say suitable, but at least a lot more traditional in the sense of what we know PlayStation to stand for up until Jim Ryan's takeover.
Yes.
I think a lot of people would be much happier.
And so, Brian, you've actually got another announcement to make, haven't you?
Guys,
you're leaving without parole.
I'm leaving without parole. The email came through today. They said, we're really sorry, but we know that you're the only person who can run Sony properly. And I said, that's perfect. Like, our first mission is that we're shutting down the flat screen games department and we're going to focus only on VR.
Yeah.
Yep. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. Fuck you, Ghost of Tsushima.
Awesome. Congrats, Brian.
But also, Ghost of Tsushima VR, you guys. It's going to be awesome.
That'll be sick.
Sirens on my end. Although not much longer, because I'll be living in a mansion soon enough.
There we go. That's what we like to hear.
Is this a cynical look, Miles? Is this a cynical look at Jim Ryan's departure, or do you think this is much more innocent than that? Do you feel as though this is just like a natural transition, and he was like, oh man, I'm going to retire in a few years anyway. I might as well retire going out on top, get the best benefit package when I retire, probably, have pension for the rest of his life type thing, rather than maybe like a, smaller pension if he had not taken the job, or do you think that there is something a little bit more nefarious behind the scenes here, and somebody at Sony's like, this has to change now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, although I've been a critic of Jim Ryan in many ways, I don't think it is that. I mean, I think it might have come into play, but you've also got to realize that the cycle of a CEO isn't actually from one console to the next. It's halfway to the next halfway, because you don't want to leave at launch. You want to have that continuity of mindset leading up to, the marketing, the development of the product, the shipping, and, for all the criticisms we have. The point is what Sony has managed to achieve with a pandemic, with the supply issues. They really knocked out the park, and they've done really great with it. and there have been challenges. But I've always also thought it would be nice if we had someone that was much more charismatic, especially when the comparisons are always made with Phil Spencer from Xbox.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, look. So the big question that comes away from this article, for me, and by the way, I'm not saying the question that asked was an important one. It's definitely an important one. But for me, it's like the biggest question is, and it's what you touched upon already: who replaces? Who's next? Because who was the beloved Sony? I don't know if it was the head of PlayStation before who stepped down. Wasn't it the role was split between two people?
Oh, don't ask me to say names because I'm terrible with this kind of stuff. When it comes to like the PlayStation CEO and the Sony CEO and the president
was it Sean Layden? Sean Layden, wasn't it?
I mean, he was definitely an employee of Sony at one point. What he did, the chat's gonna crucify me for this.
I'm looking it up now. He was the chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios, and he's previously served as the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment America, Wonderful. Executive vice president and COO of Sony Network Entertainment International. He is someone that is beloved. He's obviously been quite outspoken since then, which makes me think, once Jim Ryan leaves, what are we going to find out? Because there will be questions asked of what was it like? You've now not got the Sony hat on, and there is professionalism that comes with it. He's not going to just start throwing people under the bus,
right? But
he will be in a position where he can talk more candidly, because whether you like it or not, when you are the head of a corporation as big as Sony, as much as it's why I couldn't do the job, you get given notes, and to be honest, Phil Spencer is very good at navigating it in a way that is very candid, and it's something you want to do. But the reality is, you can have all sorts of opinions, but you are there as a messenger. You have a department that briefs you like politicians and says, these are the key takeaways. These are the key points that we want the media to take. Yep. So in the following 5 interviews we've got you booked for, all you need to do is keep bringing back to these 3 points. And, I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for it, whilst also being like, you get paid a shit ton. That's why you get paid the role. So it will be interesting to see the two things afterwards. Jim Ryan's thoughts of what it was like. He did that video in the lead up to PS5 or not long after, where he was interviewed about his gaming experiences, because they were trying to, I don't want to say humanize, but they wanted to sort of show his personality. And it was fine.
This sounds familiar. What did he say? Pong was? No, I forget. What did he say?
I can't remember what he said. But that's the thing about it. Do you remember that interview? I remember he did it. Completely unmemorable. It just washed over me.
And I think you nailed it. They were trying to humanize him, and so people would stop shitting on him.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just the world that we live in now. We talk about it in our politics, like, not to bring politics too much in it, but people talk about Donald Trump, for example. The point is, whether you like him or not, he's good on camera. He's
I don't
he's
follow
charismatic.
politics. I don't think I know what this is.
Yeah. But, politicians that do well, you can have all the best ideas you want, but if you can't communicate them, there's that. So, Jim Ryan has definitely achieved a lot. But if you're a CEO in this day and age, especially when there's all these acquisitions, there's all this battling between different, the Xbox and PlayStation, I feel like we're moving towards pretty hostile territory in terms of the console wars. And so you need someone that's going to be willing to, have fat and talk, or whatever you say over here.
Well, I will say that my ears and eyes lit up a little bit to find out about what was his name, the temporary CEO, Hiroki Toki. I don't Hiroki. I mean, I wish I could pronounce things better. But he's president, COO, and CFO of Sony Group Corp. Just seeing a Japanese name, period, makes me really happy about this, because he, even though he's going to be the temporary CEO, there's definitely, I don't know how credible this is, but I've definitely heard the theory floated to me before that Sony Japan loves VR and Sony USA does not care about VR. And so I definitely want somebody, that's somebody of Japanese descent fucking would be awesome. Like somebody from that division of the company would be, I would feel more hopeful at least. And so, I don't know if this is like I don't know how long the temporary role will be. I don't know how long it's going to take. How long does it take to find a new CEO? That's going to be a long process. You got to interview tons of people internally first, and I don't think you ever bring anyone out from the outside to be a CEO, right? That would be ridiculous. But I don't know. Like I actually, the changing of the guards is always interesting, and I hope this turns out for the best, because sometimes you don't know how good you have it
until it's gone.
And I hate the thought that possibly Miles will be looking back at this day and going, man, we shouldn't have complained so much about Jim Ryan. Like, because shit's just gotten Ryan even worse.
PSVR2. Yeah, he was a champion for PSVR2.
Yeah, by comparison.
And whoever's next closes it down. We're actually going to stop supporting PSVR2.
Yeah. No interest in VR. We're closing the doors. So
yeah.
Anyway, interesting way to start the show. Breaking news, and our best to Jim Ryan. Hope he has a great retirement. I think you'll have to.
Yeah.
And 76, you deserve it, dude. Oh man.
Sure.
I'm gonna make sure we don't miss any tips here. Oh yeah, no, we actually do. We got Nihilist Ryan, the game feline. Man, my voice keeps cracking when I do that. I think I'm losing pieces of my vocal cord as I get older. Fingers crossed, $5 tip. Fingers crossed they go without a CEO for a year and spend the savings on AAA VR ports. They're like, we don't know what to do. Like, just keep throwing money out. They did it 3 times for the first year. Let's do it 3 times next year.
Jim Ryan's actually leaving to, in his retirement, work on a new AAA PSVR2 game.
Right.
Called The Life of Jim Ryan.
Is that a Monty Python movie?
It's I don't know. Oh yeah, it's a roguelite. You go into his office every day, and yeah, you look at documents. It's good.
Man. All right, dude. Hope everyone's doing well out there. This is an interesting way to start the day. Also, just everything feels off, Miles. It's Wednesday and you're here. And also, you're in the States. Like, this couldn't be any weirder unless I was, filming from the hallway. I don't really know. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. It feels like I've been in a parallel universe all this week, having the best time. And yeah, man, I want to move to the States. I really do.
I'd say you could stay with me, but that's absolutely not happening. But I would love for you to be here. That'd be great.
Oh, cool. Well, there's the Gamecat meetup in March. Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't say what I was going to say. But hopefully we'll be there.
Yeah. Hopefully you're all going to be there. It's going to be at PAX East, guys. As soon as tickets go on sale to PAX East, let's make this shit happen. Some of us already have hotel rooms. Some of us already have. A lot of people are waiting to make sure that PAX East is actually the dates that we assume it's going to be, which is fair. But yeah,
will tickets go on sale this side of Christmas, or would it happen after Christmas? Do you think?
I believe it's this side. I think it should be soon. They should be announcing dates soon, and then the tickets should be going on sale soon after. And then tickets actually sell out fairly fast, especially the 4-day passes, which I'll be picking up just because I don't really know exactly what's happening. And then of course we're going to try to do a GamesCast live from there with whichever of my co-hosts show up. Yep. And so that'll be an expensive panel room rental. I have no idea what they go for, but it's gonna be crazy. Miles, were you a Paper Beast fan? Did you play Paper Beast on PSVR 1?
I was very late to the game with Paper Beast, but I had a good time with it. I didn't complete it, and when I heard it was coming to PSVR 2, I was genuinely excited. I can't wait to play it again, complete it. I think just having better tracking, the water physics in it, I thought was one of the most amazing things in that game. Yeah. The way you created gullies and the water flows. So to have that in PSVR 2, and I don't really want to sort of spoil stuff, but like the hot air balloon stuff, and there's just a lot of mechanics that happen. I'm just looking forward to experiencing it again, and especially with the blacks of the OLED screen, because there are some dark areas and. I haven't actually looked into any of the details they've released about this remake, so I'm hoping that you can enlighten me a bit on what we can expect. Is it just high resolution, just haptic additions? It's the same game, I'm guessing. Exactly.
Well, Miles, let me tell you all about it, because I spent a good amount of time playing it before the show. I got through the first couple scenes just to kind of check it out, and it now features full locomotion. It's just as bizarre as ever. Starts off with the, a silly dance sequence, flashing lights. You're like, what in the hell is this? And then, yeah, you get into some really cool moments very quickly. It does not seem to be maxing out the resolution on the headset. It's just got some jaggies in the background. It would have been nice to see it at the full 4K. It would have been really nice to see that. Very distracting are the pixelated ground deformations. Anytime anything walks over the sand and even creates little paw prints or big trenches, it's all very pixelated because of the shadows that it's creating, and the shadows are terrible, except for actual shadows that have nothing to do with the ground. So like you look down and everything looks really pixelated and gross, and then you look out and everything's like kind of beautiful. You're like, this is
right.
But yeah, so it's not running at 4K. It is. They said they improved the textures, but as Orseek funnily said, it was in voice chat before the show, he said, but there aren't any textures in this game. So so enhanced textures, woohoo. This is everything's flat shaded polygons for the most part. So it looks nice, but I think mostly it will be like you remember it looking on PSVR 1. It's not a massive improvement. Other than the full locomotion, which I do feel like adds to the immersion. That was a big complaint for me in the first one.
Yeah.
And walking around with full locomotion, I was like, it feels like I'm here instead of just looking through, popping through slideshows. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to experiencing it, but cautiously interested now.
Somebody had mentioned Mura. It was Rody. What's up, Rody? In the chat, Rody, the Gamecat Army General, says, I hate to say this, but the Mura is horrible in the dark areas. Worst I've seen. I'm not somebody who's susceptible to Mura. I'm really not. I really think that it's for the idea. The idea here is that it's. People say that it varies from headset to headset, and apparently that's true. I've now had 3 headsets, and it's never really been an issue. I do have to say, though, I agree with Rody that when you get into the dark areas, the really dark areas, it's strange. It almost seems like there's something on your lenses. You're like, almost seeing through some black patches occasionally. And so I was a little surprised to see that because, until you get into the darkest of the dark caves, it was fine for me. Even the regular cave was fine when it was dark. Right. When you get into the dark areas, you're like, what's on my lenses? Like, it's almost like you want to wipe it off. So 100% do see that and agree with you, Rody, for sure. I think somebody was asking where you get your hoodie, Miles.
End Dreams were very kind when I went to their studio. They gave us a little goodie bag. And I was saying to Jimmy, former community manager, they need to have a store. Like they should sell these. These would sell great, but there's a lot of good things you can do, but then you've got to have warehouse space and things like that. But I just love the color on the inside of the hood. I think the logo looks great. Hoodies always feel great when you first get them. Yeah. But yeah, I wish End Dreams did sell them on a store. I know they've done some giveaways. Nick in the chat was the winner of their speed run competition. So well done to him. And he won one of them. And I think he got it today, he said. And he's like, yeah, super comfy. So.
In the lighting and in our cameras and it's not doing it justice because that purplish pink color really pops in real life. Pop. They sent me a care package too, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks nice! I can't wait to bust it out in October." So it's coming soon.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Awesome.
Very nice. So it was TGK2 in the chat. Wanted to kind of a final synopsis here on Paper Beast. Having spent all of 15 minutes with the game, I think it's a $5 upgrade fee. To be able to play it on PSVR2, I think is worth $5. It's not a game I loved to begin with, and I really did like the intro sequence, and then kind of fell off the more further into the game I got. I was like, yeah, I like it because the thing is, I really like Eric Chahi's work. Eric, when I was growing up, Another World or Out of This World, depending on where you live, was just one of my favorite games, and I loved just trying it over and over and over again. And it felt like a world that really felt lived in, and the characters seemed like they belonged there. And this is very much, I think, if you go in, especially with the full locomotion, I went in, I was like, why didn't I like this that much before? And because I've seen the characters, and I was like, they really do feel like they fit here. This world makes sense to me. And by the end of the time I was playing, I started getting stuck on a puzzle, and I was just sort of like looking around, and I was like, I don't know, I'm losing interest by the second here. Right. If you haven't played it, it's it's like a 6.5 out of 10 for me. The full locomotion adds a little bit. The smooth turning is bad. The smooth,
oh, really?
It's got this. It decelerates before it stops. So instead of just like turning and stopping as fast as you want it to, you can control the speed, but no matter what, you don't have control over the fact that when you stop moving the analog stick, it goes whoomp. Like it's still like this extra little turn. And I've got some decent VR legs, and not a lot makes me sick. But I was playing,
right,
and by the end, I was like feeling my head felt all swimmy, and I was like, maybe I should just turn in real life because this isn't working for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, shame.
Not sure, Brondo with the $20 tip. Thank you very much, sir. It says, happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday, Brian. I'm not going to sing it, don't worry.
Well, then we can't continue the show. No. I was kidding.
Birthday to you.
I knew I shouldn't have joked about
Happy
this.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brian. Happy birthday to you. Everybody, happy birthday.
Okay, for real. Sick Ranches in the chat says Mura is the result of poor color and brightness consistency from one pixel to the next. Has nothing to do with being susceptible to it or not. I don't think that's 100% true. I mean, no. I mean, your definition of it is 100% true, my friend. But I think there are points in games when people say the Mura in this game's so bad, and I play it, I'm like, what are you talking about? And then here we are. It's like, so my headset definitely has issues with Mura, just like yours and everybody else's. But in brighter areas, I won't notice it at all. While some people say, "Oh my god, I can't play this. The Mura is terrible." And so that's what I mean by being susceptible to it. It might be there. It might always be there. But like people's eyes are different and focus on different things. Just like some people see reprojection and some people don't. It's like that stuff being there is always there. But some people notice it or don't. And so you're right. It's there, just like reprojection's there. But some people don't see it. Like me.
Right.
Until you get into a crazy dark area.
Yeah.
Fifth? F-I-T-H? Okay. With the Australian $2 tip says, who's the next Sony CEO? Brian, Miles, AJ, or Wes? Listen, I think AJ is the only one who wants the job. And I want him to have it. Just so we can say, AJ, you're AJing the fuck out of this for the next 5 years.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah. We'll blame everything on AJ. It'll be hilarious. Do you want the job, Miles?
Nah. It'd be the shortest commute for me because although I think they do have offices now in Manchester, but currently I think Jim Ryan's about a 40-minute train journey from me.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah. I'll go in next week and see what these. I'll give him my CV, resume, as you say. Sorry.
If I could do it remotely, I just don't leave this chair. Like, have you guys ever seen me outside of this chair? No, there's a reason, because this is I live and die in this chair. That's it.
There we go. All right, we'll clip that. Everyone, send it to Sony. That's his application.
Miles, with Paper Beast coming out, I believe today, was it? Jeez, I can't even keep up. And then we have like Pixar 1995 and Waltz of the Wizard. Kind of this mini flood, mini avalanche. It's 3 games. I don't know what to call it. They're all coming to PSVR 1 next week. What's the next third-party PSVR 1 game that you want brought over, and what enhancements do you want it to have?
Dude, my answer is going to be so boring because I think it's predictable. But I just go on about this again and again, which is Robinson the Journey. Dude, nice. Robinson the Journey, I would love to experience that on PSVR 2. In terms of enhancements, I think the number one feature request is it's playable on PS5. I think that'd be a really good feature. Yeah. But no, I mean, that game was beautiful. I'm trying to think, though, in terms of the locomotion. Was there smooth turning in it? There was some limitation in the locomotion, wasn't there? That they...
It was that there was no move support, and it looked like your character was carrying move controllers in his hands. And so when you're climbing, you're just moving your hand with your head using head tracking.
That was it.
Yeah, and so having 2 hands in the game would be a massive improvement.
There we go. Yeah, that was it. I was like, yeah, there was some limitation. I forgot it was DualSense. Yeah. Yeah. Having your own pet dinosaur and some of the scenes towards the end when you're doing a lot of climbing through these massive environments. I won't go into specifics, and then you come across a few enemy types that definitely put the creeps in me. I think it'd be an awesome one. What about you, Brian?
Well, mine kind of pales in comparison to yours. Now that you've said it, because I think Robinson is a great choice. The biggest complaint I think most people lodged against Robinson was that it made people sick. There was a lot of motion sickness, right? Especially on the OG PS4. On the Pro, the graphical upgrade on the Pro is stunning, and it looked great, almost like a PSVR2 game, almost. Not quite, but almost. And but yeah, on PS4 OG, it made a lot of people sick. I think either people were still acclimating to full locomotion, or they were or it just wasn't running at a high enough frame rate to keep them from getting sick. Right. And so I agree with you that this would be a great choice, but I'm never going to back down from Immortal Legacy. Immortal Legacy needs to come to PSVR 2. It needs another lease on life, needs another chance. And because that game is not done and the series is not done, and I want to see what Chapter 2 would bring us because that game was so much fun, naysayers be damned.
That's a great choice, and I would definitely go back to it because I didn't get that far. But there was some great big open things, big enemies, and that to have that in the on the PSVR 2 would be awesome.
But talking about games that are actually coming to PSVR 2, the greatest news story, I would say the biggest news story of the day, outside of Jim Ryan, like in actual gaming news, is that we actually saw the first few seconds. Is it even more than 2 seconds of Arizona Sunshine 2's gameplay? So let's head on over to Twitter to see this. I can't believe this is actually a news story, but this is what we're looking at here, you guys. Somebody is kind of hiding in a bathroom and then poking out and then shooting a gun at zombies. My question is, what are they taking cover from, Miles? Are zombies wielding guns now? What? I don't understand. This is the 2 seconds they gave us. Why are they taking cover inside a bathroom? Who's shooting at them?
I don't know, Brian, but it definitely shows the immersion. I don't. Where did this come from? I'm trying to get the tweet up in front of me now. Like, did Vertigo Games just put it out, or
they did? Did I send you the link with the Rena Show notes?
Yeah, I did. For some reason, it's not opening for me on my laptop at the moment. I did see it earlier though, before the show, so I have seen it of the whole ducking out and killing out those 2 zombies.
Yeah, it's from. It's at Arizona Sunshine is the is their
okay, so account. Yeah. Okay.
They say. No,
I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it looks cool. From what I remember, the lighting. But it's always hard with these clips, isn't it? Because it's just until you've got that headset on, it could be that it looks good, but kind of the depth perception feels a bit off or janky. Yeah. But it might be in there, and you're like, wow, I really feel like I'm here. So I'm really excited for this game.
It's so funny that people keep mentioning this game in the same breath as Half-Life Alyx 3, and it seems people who've played it or people who have whatever. I think it's funny because it does seem like these words are all coming from the same person, I feel like Vertigo's trying to get that word out there, being like Arizona Sunshine 2 is it's almost on par with Half-Life Alyx. Pass it on, and then somebody says it, and then somebody else says it, and somebody else says it. But I don't know what it is about this 3 or 4 second clip that makes me think, oh yeah, Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, the way they peek. I mean, to be fair, I've just looked at the tweet now. I've got it working. I think the reason they peek around the corner is just because the caption is your very first peek at gameplay. So that's the only charitable explanation I can give. Is you're not having to cover fire from zombies unless they are going to start giving them machine guns and stuff.
And that's easy to do. Obviously, in post-apocalyptia, and once the world is done and the world has been taken over by zombies, there are survivors, and survivors are all out, as we've seen with The Last of Us, which is very much a take on the zombie genre. The people are just as dangerous as the clickers, and so you got people wielding guns, and suddenly you got yourself a cover shooter.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Arizona Sunshine, the one thing that I'm really curious about, and I think is going to determine my excitement for the game. I mean, I'm excited regardless, but like how excited I am is from the lessons of After the Fall. That the sort of the social aspect. Is it that you just connect with a friend, or are they going to have like a progression system with you team up with other people? If they build on what they've learned from doing Arizona Sunshine and After the Fall, I think this could be a really exciting zombie game with those mechanics or the multiplayer functionality if done well.
Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Gamecat, with the $2 tip says, happy birthday, Bryan. Thank you, Kill Artist. Much love. Joey Bats 33 responded to this tweet and said, foveated rendering at launch on PSVR2 or nah. Vertigo responded, yes, on PS5 and Quest. PC does not support it.
Does Quest support foveated rendering? Is that the new Quest? Or
fixed foveated rendering.
Right.
So there is a question that remains here. Is it dynamic foveated rendering? Is it combined with eye tracking to follow your eyes, or is it just the edge of your lenses are just going to be blurry? The guess would be, hey, we did this right. But yeah, they didn't clarify that because they say PC doesn't support it. That's weird. PC doesn't support fixed foveated rendering. All right. Let's see who else wrote here. Kevin Bradley Games said, my most anticipated game right now, Arizona Sunshine, is the best first-person shooter I have played on PC so far. Great gameplay, proper levels. Kevin Bradley Grams, not games. What have you been smoking? The best first-person shooter you've played on PC? Okay, I'm just kidding. Kevin Bradley Grams is a great dude. Let's see. Savage Gamer said, started replaying the first one on PSVR 1 on my PS5 with the aim last night. One of my all-time faves. It did play better with the aim controller, I'll say that. Shen Miaozo said, ooh, pretty. Let's see. Any other good comments here? Nope, there's not. Ooh, show more replies. That's going to be bad. Bear Gaming said, the only thing I need to know is, can I punch a zombie? Vertigo responded, yes, but only for funsies.
Only for funsies. Amazing.
Love it. And that's your Arizona Sunshine 2-minute for the day. Hopefully we'll have.
That's cool that they've been responding to stuff like that. Yeah. I'm just grabbing something quickly. I'm here.
Okay. Right, let's go full screen on Miles here so we can. What do you think's on that bookshelf? This is what I do when people walk away from their computer. I just stare at the background and try to see what's in their collection.
There's a PS5 behind me. I've not touched it yet. I haven't convinced us to get a PSVR yet, but yeah.
Okay. Macho, the real estate procrastinating Gamecat with the $5 tip says, it needs to do everything Survive and The Walking Dead does, but look way better. I hope it has lots of crafting and survival elements, and its State of Decay 2-ish. All right. Yeah, I don't think it needs to do that much. I mean, I guess to validate these Half-Life Alyx claims, it does. But those are kind of big claims too. And they're still saying it's coming this year.
Wow, dude,
we're almost in October, Miles.
I know October already is stacked. Obviously, we're going to be talking about another story on this show. Then there's just November and December. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we probably should have been playing this trailer the whole time. It's been so long. I mean, it hasn't even been that long, but I feel like we know so little about this game. There's got to be a co-op campaign. Did they announce that there was? They had to have.
That's what they haven't. I don't think they have announced it yet, and that's why I'm very curious. It's going to have. It seems inevitable, but how it works, I'm really curious to see.
Yeah,
if it's going to have more of a structure of After the Fall, where it's kind of like, it's not you just jump into a cult with a friend and you do the level after level. It's kind of you jump in and out and you have a hub area. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I'm sold on that, but there are different ways of the game of doing it for longevity.
I want a room code.
It's just a stand.
I want a room code.
Yeah,
and that's what I've been thinking about lately a lot, Miles. Is how complicated it is just to get your friends into games sometimes. But then, like with Walkabout, you say, "Hey, the room code is what Gamecat or Without Parole or whatever, Bryan," and then within 3 seconds, everybody that you've invited is there. It's so easy. Motorcycles on my end, and I think every game just needs to kind of utilize this system, because going in and inviting people manually into Firewall Ultra is silly. Just give them a room code. What's wrong with room codes? And that's
Especially
what I
with
want. That's what I want for Arizona Sunshine too. I want drop in, drop out multiplayer, so that you can, if you're gonna play all day, but one of your friends can only join you for like 30 minutes, they get to join in, fight alongside of you for 30 minutes. They drop out, you keep fighting alone until somebody else sees the room code and goes, "Oh, I'll come and help you out," and they join in. It's just this drop in, drop out thing. How difficult is this? I wonder why more people aren't doing that.
I agree. I wish that as well. It's good for live streams when you want people to come on. And as elitist as this may sound, there's obviously a lot of game cats in the community that love to play with us and stuff like that. And when it comes to my PlayStation account, just because you get so many great game cats wanting to play along, I do try and keep it for just close friends and family. But I do want to play with game cats, like a Sunday multiplayer. And the games I like most are where I can just put in the Discord, here's the code, let's go play walkabout golf and stuff like that. Because you have to add people, because often due to privacy settings, you can't send invites. You'll be like, have they received it? And then when you try and send them a message, it goes, this can't be sent because of their privacy settings. Right. Which again, like, privacy settings are important, but it needs to be an option. I mean, usually with a lot of stuff, there's QR codes, aren't there? So you can sync stuff up. It'd be great if you just had a code that you could give to people just for quickness. That should always be an option, in my opinion.
I agree. Anyway, coming out this year, it's sort of this game that just keeps going under my radar because we haven't seen any gameplay or other than the 3 seconds from today. So right. It just kind of keeps fading out of existence for me. And I do hope they give it as much time as it needs, though, because I do not want this game to come out. When Arizona Sunshine 1 launched, I was like, this is a mess. Like, it didn't feel good to play. But luckily they patched it, and it got better over time. I don't want that with this. I want this to be great at launch. And with Vertigo being the publisher of Hellsweeper, I'm very curious to know, are they going to give the development team the time that they need? Same with Seventh Guest. Same with... did they have another game coming? Was it just these two? I think it's these two.
I think it was just those two. Yeah.
All right. And then I guess the big story from yesterday would be the Resident Evil story. And over on the PlayStation blog, we got an article confirming what we were, at least I don't want to speak for everybody on the Without Parole crew.
This winter.
What does this winter mean? Well, apparently it means the last week in December.
Yeah.
Only, and not the 3 months that begin 2024. Because this blog post basically tells us that that Resident Evil 4 is coming out this year. And so if you combine that with the last news story that we got saying that was coming this winter, I guess we know that it's coming late December. Do you think this is credible, Miles?
I mean, yeah. It makes me wonder what we might be seeing in February when Capcom start releasing sort of new games. In like that's normally when they do it, around February, right? When they do their usual flat screen games. Is Capcom getting to a point now where, okay, using this hybrid technology that we've shown with third person, first person, and what's the other one? The view they do first person, third person, and just VR. Which is kind of tied in, but because they're able to switch between those, it means they can now make the games at the same time.
I thought you were about to describe what second person perspective meant.
Oh no, I've seen the video on it. Yeah. It is really amazing, but a mindfuck. But yeah, so because they did the video, didn't they, for Village, for the DLC, saying you can now play as a third person with Ethan, and the fact the RE engine gives them that flexibility means we could be getting to a point where they're like, you know what? When new games come out, we launch it. It's for VR players and it's for flat screen. Make a bigger splash, because it's also good for VR. Because otherwise, it's always like, you can wait, but it's also like, I'll play it and then I'll play it again when it's on VR. If it comes out at launch, it's going to have more people going, shit, VR is like, I can play in VR or on flat screen, like at launch. Yeah, VR looks way better. So I think that could be what we start to see.
And if Sony keeps tossing 10 million at them every single time it happens, then I think it's probably worth their while.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, this is excellent news. The fact is, I like most people, thought, they're just giving themselves wiggle room. It's going to be in the new year. The fact that PSVR2 came out this year, so did Resident Evil Village, and now we're getting RE4. When RE4 did look a bit nimble on the promo stuff of like, here's RE4, and PSVR2 is in development, which could normally mean, oh, that's so far down the line. But here we are.
Let's read through this real quick just to make sure that we don't miss any of the important notes, because I have not read through this. Somebody told me, oh my God, they said it's coming out this year. And I looked and I've scanned. There it is, coming out this year. I was like, crazy. That's amazing. It's funny too, because, some people gave us shit saying, no, this winter means this winter. Right. That means this year. Otherwise they would have said next year. And, which hasn't been true in the past. We've actually heard this winter before, and then it comes out in January, February, March, whatever. Like that's why, because we've been burned by this statement before. And I was confident last time this winter means no. They would say next year if they meant next year. They mean this winter, this year. And then my favorite comment after this news story broke, somebody said, "Oh, you guys are just reading too much into this." They said they said this year, but they don't mean it. That's obviously just a slip of the tongue. And I was like, we can't win then. There's no winning. Yeah. If we say it's coming this year, people are going to say you're wrong. If we say it's coming next year, people are going to say we're wrong. And so, guys, the game's coming out whenever the fuck it wants to come out. This is by Sachi Kobari from the PlayStation blog Japan, taking over Sony one division at a time.
Yeah.
Dudes, I hope PlayStation Japan just takes over everything. Resident Evil 4 VR mode invites players to dive into the world of Resident Evil 4 and directly step into Leon's shoes to take on grueling survival missions in the ultimate immersive experience. Offered as free DLC for the PlayStation 5 version of the game and releasing this winter. This will allow you to experience Leon's full story campaign in VR. So there was some confusion on Twitter. This has been clarified already. But just as a reminder, it is indeed the full campaign. It is just like Village. It doesn't seem like any of the DLC will be playable in VR. Just the campaign. And if it's anything like Village, then, sorry, more sirens on my end, then it may not have trophies. And since you don't have like Mercenaries mode or whatever to unlock everything else, it may have some of its own bonus things included in its own campaign. Just a heads up. But at least it is the full campaign. That's what we care about the most. At last week's Tokyo Game Show, we slipped on a PSVR2 headset, donned our sense controllers, and plunged into the heart of survival horror. The demo kicked off at the game's beginning, where the players first take control of Leon. Although we've played this section many times before, in the regular non-VR mode, the first-person view adds the intensity of those early minutes, evoking more dread as we look around our forest surroundings. The oppressive darkness, so vivid on the PSVR2 headset's 4K HDR display, we're hesitant to take our first steps or investigate the cow carcass on the road. So realistic do they look. Now, Miles, I was just complaining about the mura in some of the early stages of Paper Beast. With the game as dark as this, should we be concerned? Do you think there's going to be a problem? Or it's just like, it is what it is?
Well, it is what it is, but I also think, was there much of an issue with Village?
No. Village had a lot of dark moments.
Yeah,
but I don't remember there ever being an issue with mura personally.
Yeah. I was terrified in that tutorial garage you go into at the start, like just the darkness, and it is the darkness. The door opens and you're looking in there, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I got to go in there. Like the way they do darkness is gripping. So I have no qualms whatsoever. If there was mura there, it didn't bother me.
You're too busy focusing on just making it through the next door. I remember that same feeling too. Because they bring you into the garage and then there's a car that you have to like walk past or something, and I was like, what's on the other side of this? What are they going to do? Like, and they didn't do anything, thankfully.
That was it.
I wasn't prepared for shit to get too scary too fast, I guess. The PlayStation VR2 Sense controllers is a major highlight for VR mode. The controllers allow the players to wield and control Leon's iconic knife in various arsenals by actually swinging their hands around. You can equip the knife by placing either of your hands close to the left side of your chest and pressing the controller's L1 or R1 button, so you can grab it from either hand, grabbing it off your chest. Yeah. Then you can deliver an attack by swinging the hand holding the knife. If you press the controller's L2 or R2 button while holding it, the trigger, you can switch to a reverse grip. So stab,
nice.
Stab.
That's going to be so good. You couldn't do that in Village, could you?
Dude.
It was always that. It was always stabbing like that. You never got to see the overarching, as far as I remember.
Is that
I
true?
love it.
I don't even remember. How bad is that?
I don't remember either. I'm guessing that you couldn't do that in.
Somebody, don't worry. Somebody in the chat will let us know, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay. While we wait for them to correct us. Oh, JL says, yes, you can. They said, no, you can't switch in Village. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Makes me feel a little bit better because I thought you could, but I don't trust my memory as far as I can throw it. And I don't think you can throw memories. By timing your knife swing to certain enemy attacks, you can execute a parry. Because the size of the enemies you face in VR is so realistic and overwhelming, parrying head-on with a knife feels like an impossible task at the beginning. But you overcome your fear and take on the challenge. You'll find the move to be surprisingly easy to pull off. Once an enemy becomes disoriented, you can follow up with a melee attack by pressing the X button. It's fun how a predicament can be instantly turned to your advantage. If you pay attention to the enemy's attacks and make sure that you match your knife's trajectory to that attack, it's easier to execute a successful parry. Once you get the hang of it, the maneuver becomes quite addicting. Now, parrying is not something you could do with your knife in Village, and if it was, then I never did it.
No, and it looks great in the trailers. The parrying, you get that real sense of like tension of it. So I can't wait to experience that.
Alkanoth in the chat says, I'm happy you can finally throw the knife and deal damage. But you could throw the knife in Village, so there's at least that. We remember that at least.
Yeah.
So I guess you can't throw it in the flat screen mode. I'm guessing that's what Alkanoth is referring to. Handguns are equipped on the right side of the player's waist and can be held by bringing either hand close to the waist and pressing the L1 or R1 button. You can fire the handgun by aiming with the controller and pressing L2 or R2. To reload, you'll first need to eject the magazine by pressing the circle or triangle button. Next, by using your hand that's not holding the gun, you can pull out a spare magazine from your left hip and insert the magazine by moving it close to the handgun. Then with the same hand, you can grasp the side, slide on top of the handgun and cock it to complete the reload. Nothing new. There's nothing new here, right? From Village, this is a complete manual reload just like we did last time. I don't know if that's true or not. I was like, did we do all of those steps last time? I'm fairly certain we did. Man, my brain is just fried. But this makes me so happy. I really have to say, because even though Resident Evil Village was a game that was obviously designed for the flat screen, or came out for the flat screen first, it still feels like some of the best weapon handling and reloads we have in VR yet, and along with the haptics as well. Capcom absolutely nailed this aspect of the game. So the fact that they're just repeating everything here for Resident Evil 4, reiterating it for people who haven't played Village yet, I think is really important.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a reloading method that will be familiar to players of Resident Evil Village VR mode on PS5. What was once a cool preset animation on the flat screen brings additional tension with an extra dimension to combat encounters. Learning to perfect your ammo grab and execute a reload flawlessly is a unique aspect to VR that's worth experiencing. As the TGS demo previewed the game's opening sections only, enemy attacks weren't too daunting, but the fresh experience of tackling familiar haunts in a new way meant I'm already excited to see how later scenarios feel in play. Resident Evil 4 VR mode may be the perfect way to revisit the remade classic when it launches later this year.
Woo!
That was dramatic, wasn't it?
That's awesome. Good way to end. Good way to get people to read the full article. They said this year. Where? Just keep reading.
Just looking in the chat here. Just want to make sure. Jan Clausen says the kick will be crazy. Yeah, I see how it pulls in. I don't know if you guys saw that on the in the recent videos that have been out, but the camera pulls back and shows Leon in third person doing the roundhouse kick. So hopefully the suplex will also be there. And I really hope there's an option to just stay in VR mode or stay in first person as the roundhouse kick goes down. I mean, I don't care if the camera swings around, man, that'd be intense. I'd be down to see my leg kick out and just see it happen from Leon's perspective. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Super cool video, bro, in the chat with the $2 tip says Galaxy's Edge thumbs down suggestion. You right about the haptics though. Oh, you didn't like Tales from the Galaxy's Edge?
I loved it.
I loved it too. The haptics, I think, went a long way. The shooting,
the drill.
The multi-tool felt great every time you used it. Yeah, I was a big fan. I was not a big fan of some of the side story stuff. The lightsaber things should have been way more fun, but it felt like they just kind of jammed the lightsaber segment in there just so they can say, "Hey, our Star Wars game has a lightsaber segment," but it wasn't all that much fun. Like, why is it all training? Why isn't it like just beating the shit out of people? That'd be great.
Yeah. Time to Play VR just said in the chat, £23 off RE4 now in the store. So there are discounts on the PlayStation Store. So, I'll need to do it.
I mean, I'm going to say it's time to pick it up, man. Like, this is knowing that the game is coming out within the next 3 months. And on top of that, I mean, do we really think it's going to have a better sale between now and then? If it does, like, how much of a better sale is it really going to be? I don't know. So, I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be too much of a risk to pick it up. All right. Hey, listen. So frequently, before we begin the show, Miles and I, or Wes and I, or AJ and I say, let's make it a short one, because we either have other things going on, sirens on my end, or we're just tired. It's been a long day, whatever. And before the show today, Miles and I said, let's make it a short one, because not only did he have to switch with Wes, but I'm exhausted, and you've got some allergies stuff going on. You've been beaten up all day, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm not feeling great. And I did my live show earlier anyway. So
nice.
Yeah, I mean,
well
so
done.
I did that. And yeah, if anyone wants to see like what I've been up to here in Alabama, my Mole's Died live show went, and I had my friend Amol, who I'm staying with. She joined me for a quiz on Alabama, the true or false quiz I did.
Really?
A bit about it. I think she learned a bit about it, to be fair. It was good fun. But yeah, I'm having a really good time here. So yeah, obviously want to make the most of my last full day tomorrow. Going to get a lot of rest tonight and then hit the ground hard tomorrow. But with that said, Brian, there has been a statement from Sony, from Jim Ryan, from the press room, which I am trying to find now. Here's the comment from Jim Ryan. He says, after 30 years, I've made the decision to retire from SIE in March 2024. I've relished the opportunity to have a job I love in a very special company, working with great people and incredible partners. But I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. And I'll get to this in a minute because it's actually quite a short statement. I will leave having been privileged to work on products that have touched millions of lives across the world. PlayStation will always be a part of my life, and I feel more optimistic than ever about the future of SIE. I want to thank Yoshida-san for placing so much trust in me and being an incredibly sensitive and supportive leader. And that's the statement from him. There's a few other things that people can read. It's on the Sony Interactive website. But I'm sure Brian will tweet it out as well after the show. But
who knows what I'll do, Miles? Who knows? Anything could happen.
Yeah. But the thing he says, I found it increasingly difficult. I was like, shit, what's he going to say? To reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. I have huge empathy for that, man. Like, that's what always confused me, was that the main offices and that are in London. And if you're working with California, that is 8 hours before, and the East Coast, which is 5 hours, that's not easy. And just to give you a sense, like, if I lived in Alabama, working my current job, which is remote, I work, 9 till 5, or I can do 10 till 6. You think, okay, 6 hours difference, you can make that work. No, that's working, 4 in the morning until midday every day. That's assuming you're going to start and stop at the exact right time. You need to be available. So as a CEO of a company, I'm sure that does take its toll, and especially with the global challenges that come with Sony. So there might be other things at play, but I thought it was interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah.
I swear I'm here. I swear.
That's all right.
I'm totally here. There we are. Secrets of in the chat says, Brian, did you get a chance to watch No One Will Save You? You guys know that I love horror movies, and I've been really ramping up for Halloween, for October. Hopefully there's going to be a bunch of horror movies coming out in October, but I've been doing my best to actually watch whatever I can. The Boogeyman was actually really good for the first half, maybe. I think the first half, and then it kind of like it kind of falls apart in the last half. But it was really good. Good. Cobweb was terrible. Don't even bother watching Cobweb. Skinamarink, god awful. Absolutely the worst movie I've ever seen. There's people out there who love it. It's crazy.
The new Saw movie's out tomorrow, so it'll probably be screening tonight. Saw X, and as much as I'm like, yeah, I'm sick of Saw. I was a fan of the originals, and this one does take place between the original Saw and Saw 2 with Amanda. Can't think, and it has Tobin Bell in it that makes Saw. So I don't know. It might be one that I do give a try.
Well, I stopped watching the Saw movies quite a while ago because they just stopped being fun to me. It used to be this annual tradition that would go see every single new one in the theater every single time, and eventually it's like, man, the story's terrible. The traps were always cool, but man, it's just like how this one's gonna gross you out. No, this one's gonna gross you out. Eventually, it just get old. So maybe if they're kind of going back and getting back to the earlier parts of the story, then I'll be interested. But I will say. 2 movies. One, Talk to Me, the new A24 movie, I actually thought was really good. It's not super scary, but it's unsettling. There were moments where I turned away from the screen because I was like, I can't believe they're showing this right now. It was like, oh, you look back, they're still showing it. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's ridiculous. Right. Which I love. I love that kind of stuff. And A24 never pulls back, like Midsommar and Hereditary. Both I believe had scenes where it was just like, oh my God. And then it feels like a early 90s, late 80s movie where it just sets something up at the beginning, like just kind of like bizarre concept. And they say, hey, get on board with this because in our movie, this is a real thing. And you're just going to have to get on board and be down with it for the rest of the fucking 90 minutes. And the fact that they just did that and kind of threw caution to the wind and said, fucking get on board. This is what our movie's about. I loved, and it just showed like sort of respect for the audience and also respect for their own creative vision to not have to, make it seem more real. It was just very cool. It felt refreshing to me is what it felt. So highly recommend. But back to Secrets of No One Will Save You. This movie's exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. It's an alien. It's a movie about aliens, and unlike most horror movies that kind of like have these ebbs and flows where it gets scary and then they give you a break. Daytime comes around and nothing's happening, and then it's nighttime and shit's hitting the wall and like people are getting thrown and stuff. This is all people are getting thrown from the beginning of the movie until the end of the movie. Once the action starts, like 10 minutes in, it just doesn't stop, and so I had to stop halfway through because I was like, dude, this is intense. I'm not gonna be able to go to bed after this. Like I couldn't relax at any point. Like I like horror movies because they give you that chance to relax and then get scared again, get scared again. And this is just like nonstop. It's like bam, 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 bam.
Right.
Like it's a lot. And so I'll get back to it. But I love what they did with it because they kind of threw the traditional horror trope out the window and said, we've got our own idea here. We're going to run with it. And I think it's very cool that they took a different approach to a horror movie.
That's cool. Just quickly from me, I watched 2 nights ago with my friend Amal. She recommended, she hadn't seen it, but she'd heard it good things. It was a New Zealand horror movie, but like comedy horror called Deathgasm. And it was a good time. It's about school kids that are into metal, they're outcasts, and they discover, I think, some manuscript that when they play music in a certain way, it opens a portal to hell. And when it does, it's pretty gory, but it's like kind of fun. And it reminded me of Peter Jackson. I think his first ever directing debut was in New Zealand, and it was Brain Dead, which was a good classic horror movie that is definitely worth checking out. But yeah,
amazing. Nice. I hope we have more horror movie recommendations as we get closer into October and as we get through October, because I just need more. We've actually got enough horror games coming to VR this year. That's awesome. I'm super excited for that. Now we just need some more movies to come out. Very excited. Real quick, we're going to do one more tip and then we're going to do some 20 questions and we're going to get out of here. Leo AI with the 20-second rose says, Jim Ryan is leaving as CEO in March. I'm so happy. We talked a lot about that today. I will say, I feel like I've floated one half of a theory, and I think the other half is sort of the thing I've been saying for the last couple of years, is that one person does not control everything that happens at Sony. There's a board of directors, there's investors, there's all sorts of things that happen. Yeah. And so I do think that people will be shocked that when somebody new takes on the role of CEO, there's not going to be a lot of visible changes, especially at first. It's going to take a while, and maybe we'll see changes right away. But I don't think we will. I hope we do. But I just think there's too many moving cogs in a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Sony, like PlayStation, for one person to ever make a difference, no matter how high up of a position that they have. So we blame a lot of stuff on Jim Ryan, but how much of it is actually his fault? And I think the answer is probably very little. That's kind of like my final word on this. Any final thoughts on this, Miles, before we do 20 questions?
Yeah, I'll just read a tweet that comes from Brian Altana, who just posted this, which I think is brilliant. He says, Jim Ryan's presidency at PlayStation could have lasted longer, but unfortunately it was powered by the same battery they use in the DualSense controllers.
Love Brian. Love it. It's funny because I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 3 lately, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 on my PlayStation 3 with a DualSense, DualShock 3, I mean. And those things last forever. Forever. I swear I played for like 8 hours and like the battery's still like 2 bars. I'm like, shouldn't this have been dead twice by now? It's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
All right, man. Do you have a game picked out for 20 questions?
I have a game and I've got to shoot in 4 minutes, so you'll get it quick.
Okay.
By the way, it's not a hard cut off. I leave when I leave, but
okay. Am I a new timer? Okay, help me out in the chat, guys. I'm gonna need it. On your mark, get Des, go. Is this game on PlayStation 2? I mean, PlayStation VR 2. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Is it also on PlayStation? Also on PlayStation VR 1?
No.
Okay, PSVR 2 only. Was it a launch title?
Oh wait, actually.
Don't AJ this.
Yeah. No, it's out on PSVR 1.
A PSVR 1 and 2, and you didn't know this. That's very interesting. No. What was my other question? What was my next question? Oh. Okay, so that's one question. No, it's 2 questions. Does this have multiplayer?
No.
No multiplayer. Okay.
That's 3.
Was it a PSVR 2 launch title?
No. 4.
Okay, so PSVR 2 upgrade didn't come at launch. Did we talk about it on today's show?
No. 5.
It's not Paper Beast, you guys.
No. 6. I'm joking.
It's not out. It's not out yet. Tatum. Bad Dreams is not out on PSVR 2 yet. Is this game? Could this fall into the horror category? Zombies, anything horror category?
No.
No horror
6.
whatsoever, you guys. Okay, that eliminates a lot. Is this played from a third-person perspective by any chance?
No. 7.
Okay. Would this game fall on our top 25 list?
No. 8.
Wow. So he said it really fast, guys. It might be kind of bad. Was Last Worker on PSVR 1 as well? Do you work in a shipping department?
No.
No. Okay. No, not Last Worker. Just wanted to get that out there because Looper always knows. Did this game have any sequels or prequels?
No. 10.
Not Cave Digger, you guys. Do you shoot guns in this game?
No. 11.
Is it a sports game?
No. 12.
Is it called an open world game, whether it is or not? Is it called one?
It is called an open world game, Brian.
Can you ride a bicycle in this game?
You can ride a bicycle in this game, Brian. 14.
By any chance, is this Down and Out?
It's Down and Out, Brian. And as I always started going through this, I remember on the last show I was on, that was your game that you selected because I got confused. I got thrown by that. It's on PSVR 1 as well. But yeah, anyway. As someone said, I'm rushing to get out. So
thank you guys in the chat.
Down and out.
Tatum and everyone else who suggested it.
Yeah.
Tatum might be the first one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, he's got to get out of here. Let's let him go, guys. Thank you so much, everybody who supports the channel, everybody who helps out. Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, Jay Meow, who no longer does it, but Rypop does. All the moderators, everybody who supports the channel financially, Patreon, here as members, everyone who tips during the show, everyone who participates in the chat, keeps us entertained as we try to keep you entertained, and everyone who sits back and watches the show and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there and we love you just as much. Happy Wednesday, Miles.
Happy Wednesday and happy birthday, Brian. Have a great week, everybody. And I will see you maybe at the Gamecat Meetup. Peace.
And also the following Friday. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to change this thumbnail. We have to change it to Jim Ryan retires.
You just put him on top of the zombie.
There we go. Just put a big red arrow pointing to his face. They're like, you'll never believe who's retiring from Sony, and just point an arrow at Jim Ryan. Like,
there we go.
Okay.
That's the way you do YouTube thumbnails, Brian.
Real quick, I just want to make sure these guys get a shout out while we're still on here. Drat Ebb with the level 1 membership said, "Dead alive, I kick arse for the Lord." Wait, did you say Dead Alive? He's just quoting Dead Alive, period. Okay. That was great. I fucking love Dead Alive. The gamer formerly known as Gamecat. Look, this is terrible, man. I apologize. The gamer formerly known as Get In My Belly, LOL. M. Wilkins. I'm terrible at this. $20 tip says, "Happy birthday, Brian. Love you guys. Cats and the show, as always. One of these days, I'll pronounce your new name right. I was so apologize. Good night, everybody. We'll see you on Friday."